If you spent $38,000 on a handbag thinking it was handcrafted in a candlelit Parisian atelier, buckle up. Because what if that Made in France label is just as fake as the exclusivity it's selling? This week, Hermès is under fire, and not just from internet sleuths. Jennifer Lopez, queen of couture and red carpet royalty, just asked the one question luxury brands pray you never ask. And let's just say, what started as a whisper on TikTok is now a thunderclap across the fashion industry. Stick around, because later in this video, we'll show you the footage that's making even die-hard collectors question everything. Welcome to Chatter Fuse, where we don't just spill tea, we steam press it into the fabric of celebrity culture. Make sure you subscribe for more A-list scandals, PR meltdowns, and Hollywood exposés, delivered weekly and always unfiltered. And here's where it gets messy. A quiet video filmed deep inside a Chinese factory casually shows rows of designer handbags being stitched, packed, and stamped. Not knockoffs, but the real deal. Same shape, same stitching, same signature lock, all supposedly destined for the luxury boutiques where a single Birkin can cost more than your car. The man behind the camera? A factory worker claiming that Hermès, Gucci, and even Prada bags are produced under one roof, his. And no, he's not shy about dropping names. He doesn't just point at the bags, he points at the math. Labor costs? Pennies on the dollar. Materials? Premium? Yes, but nowhere near 5 figures. What's the markup really paying for? One word: branding.
Some say as long as there's a tag saying made in China, the bag can never be luxury. However, in fact, more than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China. But those luxury brands just won't acknowledge that. They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own countries and just do the repackaging and logo installing. That way, the bags will appear at their boutiques as made in Italy or made in France.
Now imagine the world's most coveted bag being mass-produced next to a $250 dupe. Then both get shipped out, one with a luxury label and a 5-digit price tag, the other with none. And just like that, the illusion starts to crack. And while the internet was still processing that, Jennifer Lopez decided to throw gasoline on the fire. No press release, no stylist-approved soundbite. Just one sharply worded comment under the viral clip: if they're proud of their workshops, why aren't we seeing them? That one sentence, calm, almost offhand, hit harder than any exposé. Because it wasn't coming from some random influencer. It came from a woman whose name is practically stitched into luxury itself. For decades, J.Lo has been the walking billboard for designer labels. Front row at fashion weeks, draped in couture, starring in campaigns. She's not just wearing the brand, she is the brand. So when she starts questioning where those bags are really made, it sends a message louder than any boycott. And just like that, what had been a fringe conspiracy started sounding a whole lot like truth. Luxury insiders didn't need a press alert to know what that meant. Panic mode. Stylists started quietly advising their celebrity clients to hold off on flaunting new Hermès. Influencers shelved their unboxings. High-end YouTubers hit pause on sponsored content. But the most damning silence came from Hermès itself. No factory tour, no behind-the-scenes redemption campaign, not even a polished PR deflection. Just nothing. And the longer they stayed quiet, the louder the suspicion grew. People weren't just asking questions anymore. They were digging, posting side-by-side comparisons, zooming in on stitching, demanding receipts. Because if that $38,000 bag came from the same production line as a $300 dupe, then the only thing separating the two is a logo and a lie. And then came the final blow, courtesy of a man with a scalpel and no patience for smoke and mirrors. Tanner Leatherstein, a leather expert turned internet whistleblower, took matters into his own hands, literally. He bought Hermès bags with his own money, sliced them open on camera, and laid bare what luxury brands don't want you to see. No gold-plated hardware, no artisanal secrets. Just decent leather, basic construction, and sky-high markups. One Birkin bag, estimated cost to produce, around $600. Retail price? $38,000. He wasn't guessing. He was measuring glue lines, checking stitch quality, running material tests, and letting the numbers do the talking. Turns out, people weren't paying for craftsmanship, they were paying for a story, a fantasy. And once that fantasy starts looking mass-produced under factory lights, it loses its shine real fast. And once the illusion cracked, it wasn't just fashion fans taking notice. The entire luxury market started to wobble. Analysts reported a sudden dip in high-end sales. Collectors began unloading bags they'd once treated like investments. Even major fashion editors were overheard calling Hermès a risk for upcoming features. Meanwhile, Gen Z and younger millennials, the very consumers luxury brands have been scrambling to win over, made their stance crystal clear. They're not here for fairy tales. They want transparency, not tradition. Forget candlelit workshops and whispered wait lists. They want time-stamped supply chains, ethical sourcing receipts, and proof that a $25,000 price tag isn't just smoke dressed up in silk. Because in a world flooded with side-by-side comparisons, dupes, and real-time TikTok takedowns, the phrase, because it's Hermès, just doesn't cut it anymore. And here's the part that really rattled the boardrooms. Hermès didn't just lose a few customers, it lost control of the narrative. For decades, it wrote the rules of luxury. It dictated what was rare, what was timeless, what was worth saving for. But suddenly, with one viral leak and a single comment from J.Lo, that carefully guarded mythology unraveled. Collectors, influencers, even stylists once loyal to the brand started rethinking everything. Was it elegance or just elite marketing? Was that waitlist a badge of exclusivity or just another illusion of scarcity? And in the silence left by Hermès, people filled the void with their own conclusions. Forums lit up. TikToks dissected every stitch. Even casual buyers began second-guessing what was really behind that orange box. Because when luxury starts looking like a markup scam with a ribbon, the trust doesn't just fade, it free-falls. And Jennifer Lopez didn't need to say another word. Her silence became its own statement. The woman who built a career on precision, image control, and being 10 steps ahead didn't rant or retract. She didn't clarify or backpedal. She just let that one question hang in the air. And the industry felt it like a punch to the gut. Because when someone like J.Lo distances herself, it's not drama. It's direction. It's a signal to fans, stylists, and power players alike that something's off. Almost overnight, followers started digging through old receipts, sharing regrets, canceling pre-orders, and calling out what they once defended. Luxury wasn't just facing criticism, it was facing a cultural permission slip to question everything. And in an era where credibility is currency, Hermès was suddenly bankrupt. And the timing couldn't have been worse. Luxury brands were already walking a tightrope, juggling shrinking markets, shifting values, and a younger generation that's allergic to pretense. But now, the very thing they sold best, mystique, had become their biggest liability. Mystery once meant magic. Now it screams cover-up. Consumers don't want a brand that hides behind velvet curtains. They want proof. They want to know who made their bag, where it was stitched, and why it costs more than 3 months' rent. And when brands can't provide that, the audience doesn't wait politely. They drag, dissect, and dethrone in real time. This wasn't just a PR crisis, it was a full-blown credibility collapse. One sparked by a TikTok and ignited by a single sentence from someone who knows exactly how powerful a whisper can be. So here we are. One viral video, one brutal bag dissection, and one perfectly timed comment from Jennifer Lopez later. And the facade has cracked wide open. The $38,000 Hermès bag? No longer a status symbol, but a cautionary tale. The whispers about factory floors and inflated price tags? Now headline news. Luxury didn't just take a hit. It took a mirror to the face. Because when someone like J.Lo questions the story behind the brand, she doesn't just ruffle feathers, she shakes the whole nest. And if a logo is the only thing separating prestige from mass production, Maybe the real luxury is realizing you've been sold a fantasy. If you enjoyed this takedown, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Chatterfuse for more unfiltered celebrity scandals, industry meltdowns, and pop culture power shifts. Because over here, we don't buy the label. We read the fine print